Yeah, and then so you were doing this goat, and then oh shit, we're live. We're live.
I needed that.
I'm sure you did.
It's been a rough couple days, Mike.
Yeah, I mean,
I had to get on that plane from Kabul, fly all the way over here.
at least you dropped off before it was a lethal height.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but what do you do?
What do you do?
Is
Is
your
longest
conflict in American history, though? That's something we could celebrate.
It's fun. So really quick before we get into that annoying fucking topic, your number one Mark III, is that done now?
I just have to get some time when it's not fucking humid as shit and not windy as shit and the air quality's good to like finish the stock. That's it. The stock's all together. Like the gun can go together and shoot just fine.
Yeah.
Not finished. That's it.
So that's it.
That's it. That's all I have to do is I have to just basically tongue oil the stock with like 20 fucking coats.
Right.
So because you're supposed to do super fucking light layers and you have to wait like 24 hours in between each fucking coat and sand it with like the sanding sponge and do it again. So I need like for the first couple of coats, like a week of nice, good air quality, non-windy, non-humid weather.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So basically prime time is September and October.
That's what I was hoping to do it way back this spring. But you remember it was so fucking wet the spring, and then the summer
got
wet
so
and
it gets windy as terrible. Yeah, it's just windy as fuck.
So I've never had a long enough time period to do it, and that stuff stinks so fucking bad, and I don't have a good place to like set it in here. So
yeah.
And I don't want to like lean it against the wall or have it tip over and fucking stick to the carpet or something like that. So
yeah, for sure.
And everyone's like, just do it inside. Well, you can do it inside at your house.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing it. This isn't my place. I don't want to live here forever. I don't want to pay for shit when I leave. So I'll wait till I can do it outside.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, people don't realize how much that shit stinks when you first apply it. It goes away after you apply it.
So fucking sticky,
Yeah.
And
yeah. It's not something you can do inside because it burns your fucking nose.
Yeah, it does.
After you're done.
I mean, tongue oil's not that
try to go to
bad
sleep, you're
natural, but it's still rough. And I'd rather do it outside. And I'm glad that hopefully this year, because like I've shot it, I've put it all together and shot it with just the bare wood stock. It's fine. It works great.
And it works.
It works fantastic. Yeah.
Nice.
But it's just not entirely done yet because I just have to finish the stock, and that's the hard part. So it's good. The rifle's good to go. It's done. I just need to finish the stock. So.
Yeah, you'll get there for sure.
Yeah. But
you'll have a number one Mark III. What?
What about the number 3? Did you just asking how I'm doing in it, or
no? I said then you'll have a number one Mark III.
That's right, an actual number one Mark III.
Yeah, I didn't say star. Yep, I said number one Mark III. So
good. It's going good. Yep. I love looking at it because I have the stock on it right now, just sitting in the closet waiting to be done. And it is a gorgeous rifle.
Yeah, they're ugly and awesome looking at the same time.
It's like all British crap. It's hideous, but it's good looking.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, the British uniform really took a fucking dive when they started modernizing in the early 19th or 20th century.
Yeah, in like the 60s.
Yeah. Well, no. Like even I would say World War I, like their uniform it doesn't look that great. It looks more utilitarian and like.
Yeah, it's effective, but it looks like shit.
Well, and here's the thing too is like, so if I were to pick what gear I would carry out of any faction in the First World War, right?
Yeah.
I would pick the 1908 webbing system because
that's pretty hard to beat. Yeah.
Because it can come off at the whim and you can customize it. It also holds a shitload of ammunition.
Fuck
right?
Yeah, it does.
compared to the U.S. 1917.
It's like 250 rounds the average soldier was
Right.
carrying. It's a shit ton. So
Yeah, and you've got, let's see, you've got 100 rounds for the U.S. minus bandoliers and shit, but like you've got 100 rounds in the U.S. 1917 belt. Well, the 1910 technically, but the 1017 is what was mostly used in World War One for the U.S. And it's like, well, that's 100 rounds, and you got the Germans, which is
that'd be hold
on for a second. 15 times 6. 90 rounds.
Yeah.
You had 90 rounds of chargers in the German gear, right? The French was, God, I actually don't even know how many French.
90.
But they're loose, and that's what sucks.
Yeah. Well, depending. If you got a Berthier, they were.
Berthier, yeah. No. But I'm talking like the majority of the people in the French military in the First World War had loose rounds in their pouches for the 1886-93.
Yeah. Well, in those fucking weird 10-round paper boxes, kind of.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But it's still like that's a pain in the ass to like try to
deal with, for sure.
Yep. But so I don't actually know the number. I don't know if it's 90. It could be less. It could be more. Because I mean, the 8mm LaBelle round is a fucking huge round.
That's a massive fucking round. Yeah.
Like girth wise.
Yeah, right? Because the rim is so because it's literally 11mm gras neck down. It's so fucking big
So it's
the base.
Yeah, the base is like very, very large. So yeah, I don't even know.
Beating the Austrians with 40.
Right.
Yes. No wonder why they lost so bad. No offense to Austria, but
yeah, 42. Yeah. So you got 5, 10, 15, 20. Yeah, 40 tops. And
we had 40.
Did they have bandoliers?
But they carried more.
Did they have more? How did they carry it?
Well, it was in their bag.
In what form?
In boxes, in clips, still just in their bag.
In boxes and clips.
Yeah. So like how they did it is so like they would get 10 rounds in a box on clips.
Yep.
And that whole box would slide into the pouch.
Sure. Yeah. I get that. So they would just carry the boxes in their packs?
Well, a lot of it, yes. They would carry extra ammo in their packs. They would carry 60 rounds in their pack. So they'd have 40 on their belt and 60 in their pack.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times, so your 40 is like an emergency thing. You didn't need to carry all of your ammo all the time. So rear line troops would only carry 40. And frontline troops, they would actually stage ammo boxes out along the trench lines.
Okay.
That you could just pull from the boxes to reload your rifle, and you weren't supposed to take from your pouches. That's for an emergency or for when you're attacking.
So that's really inefficient. Even at that point.
It actually ended up being the standard for most troops. The British would do that too. They would keep in defensive stuff. They would have boxes along the trench line, wood crates just full of clips.
Yeah, but what happens when you get overrun?
Well, you just have multiple lines. The Austrians never just had one line.
No. Nobody had one line that I'm aware of. Okay, I don't want to say nobody, but like it wasn't common to have just one line.
Yeah, don't knock the Russians out of the war.
Okay.
They'd be lucky to have one line. It's more like a drainage.
Point taken. And they still inflicted a shitload of casualties. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's because they got a shitload of people.
Right. And so you're saying that like, do the Germans do this to your knowledge?
Yeah, the Germans would do that. So like, unless they were actively going on the attack, they would oftentimes just have boxes in the trench, like on the parapets, full of ammo, ready to go. So
that's interesting because I don't know of the U.S. doing that.
Well, the U.S. was always very aggressive. They didn't really play much.
Sure, but like maybe they did that. Maybe I mean, you just brought up something that like I don't know about.
The Russians did it even. So
so you just brought up something that I don't know about and I hadn't researched. So no, that's very interesting. I'll have to check that out and shit.
But it worked pretty good for the
it makes sense, but it's still I guess
it reduced the weight that they had to carry. And obviously, mountain troopers oftentimes they'd carry extra ammo pouches on the back of their belt.
Yeah.
For more ammo because it's harder to do that, obviously.
Yeah, because once they go out, it's like there is no front line. You are the front line.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Yeah, that's very interesting. I didn't know that.
It was well, recently they found, because the White War was the war that happened on the top of the Alps, and
yeah.
as the glaciers are all receding, they found stuff, and they found a machine gun nest. And so there was the machine gun kind of in the center, pointing towards the Italian lines. And then next to the machine gun was a box of 8mm M95 ammo on clips. And then on each side, by like the end of the sandbags, because it was a tiny little machine gun nest, obviously. So they had 3 crates of ammo stacked up by the sandbag just for the riflemen. Just for the riflemen.
You just grab that, or you got one guy that's like giving ammo to everybody, or whatever happened?
Well, you'd have the machine gun crew, and then basically it was just a wood crate full of those little boxes.
Sure, and like depending on the scenario, like of that kind of concept, like the guys either grab them themselves, or they'd have one guy that just dropped his rifle and was like, all right, I'm giving 15 rounds to this guy.
Carrying the top off those boxes to hand people clips to keep shooting.
Yeah. Okay, that's really interesting.
Yeah,
that's really cool. Like I mean, so now I said it was inefficient earlier, but like that's still like a late 19th century thing.
Fair. Well, I mean, it still happens to this day. I mean, look at
sure.
Fox, they're putting ammo boxes around full of
because but when you get bandoliers for the 5.56 caliber weapons, it's in 10-round clips still to this day. And so you'd have a guy. I suppose you'd have a guy that just, or two,
he's just loading magazines.
They're sitting there with a spoon and like putting it on a hard surface, because that's like how you do it.
You turn it upside down. You just
bam. That's what we did, man. Ammo point, working that was fun. But no, you bam, bam, bam. Here's a magazine. You go give it to this guy. Yeah, no, that makes sense, I guess.
Then you don't have people just burning through all their ammo on their equipment, because what happens if you get overrun? And now you've wasted, half your ammo, 3/4, maybe all of your ammo, and now you fall back. What do? You don't have anything.
Yeah, exactly. That's what your pouches are for.
Yeah. So the Austrians thought of all that. They're like, we're just going to keep sending you, whether you need it or not, crates of fucking ammo. And the Austrians wasted more ammo than anyone else, because their rifle, you can't just like unload it. So like if you are done in a firefight and you only shot 2 rounds, you just eject the whole fucking clip, and it doesn't matter where it goes.
Yeah.
Because you just throw in a new one. Nobody gave a shit about the clips.
Right.
So they were all about wasting ammo. And, Steyr was the largest fucking ammo manufacturer in the world at that point. They churned out bullets like nobody's fucking business. And so tons of ammo clips laying everywhere. And the Austrians just didn't care. And so that was their thing. They would just be like, well, fuck the ammo. Who cares? But you keep that 40 for when you need it, for either when you go on the offensive, okay? Or if you have to retreat, then you have your ammo. Every soldier is fully equipped to do a successive retreat,
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Like that's something that I've never thought about. And
but it does make sense. Burdening your soldiers as much, because one of the heaviest things you're carrying is obviously ammo.
Yeah, for sure.
And so if ammo you're limiting the amount of ammo they carry, you're not fatiguing.
But ammo and water at that point was one canteen. It's not like nowadays.
Well, yeah, the Austrians.
And so the heaviest thing you're carrying is ammo.
They were only little half liters, so.
Yeah, that's cool. I guess you learn something every day.
I'm one of the few people that gives a shit about the Austro-Hungarian military in World War I.
Yeah, but this is also French, British, and German, and, so
the Italians had lots of issues with it, actually, because their soldiers, once again, you've seen the Italian mag pouches. They didn't carry much more than the Austrians did.
No, they just had one more round per charger.
Yeah.
Or no, that's actually a clip. That's an M block. Yep.
And they would run out of ammo all the time.
Huh.
So
that's why I suppose, like, because the Americans had a different kind of style. I suppose maybe they did this. Like it's you open up a rabbit hole. I'm not going to jump down it soon.
Yeah.
But you've literally just said, "Hey, do you see that hole over there?"
Yep.
Jump down that. you know. And I'm like, as a historian, I'm like, nope, not yet. But like, no. So I would assume that the Americans, because the Americans are really fond, and so are the British, of bandoliers. Okay, and if you're doing an assault, and you know or think you're going to take that objective, that trench or the position or whatever the hell it may be, each guy's going to have 2 to 3 bandoliers on them, and they're going to take their ammo from those first.
For sure. And then your mag pouches. So it's much of the same concept, but you're just bringing the ammo box with you over your shoulder.
Correct.
Rather than in a box.
Right, because I don't think the Austro-Hungarians, did they have bandoliers? I've never seen them.
No, they were not big. I mean, well, cavalry did, but Austria-Hungary did away
that's
with
not a bandolier, though. That's like an ammo belt, I would call it.
Yeah, it was like individual rounds.
Yeah, that was a belt, I would call it. Because, yeah, it's a bandolier. And the Germans, don't quote me on this, but like in or around after Verdun, basically, you could see them with their dual bandoliers strapped over them. If there were assault troops or even just regular infantry troops at the end of the First World War for Germany, use these expendable bandoliers. They'd have them slung, one on each kind of shoulder, and they would sometimes tie them to their belt so they didn't flop around.
Yeah.
Yep, and but they would have that, but they were expendable. They weren't reusable. Like once they were done with that or whatever, or they had like a few clips left, they'd be like, take the clips out, throw the bandolier because it's cotton, it's canvas. And
you still see in their lines the all along the lines the just boxes, because you'd get 2 ammo cans per box, and then you would just open the ammo can and you just set it behind the sandbag somewhere every certain amount of spacing.
But the Germans seem to be very late to the game on the bandolier thing.
Yeah, they were.
You know, and when they came out with them, they were the cheapest, shittiest ones.
Imaginable, yeah.
Because
like, to hold ammo for 10 minutes, though, you know, so it doesn't need to be great. But
no, but like, okay, that makes a lot. That actually makes a lot of sense. So
yeah, so like your pouches were, especially for like the Central Powers in World War I, your actual ammo in your pouches was meant as like an emergency measure. Like you don't have other ammo to use. This is what you use.
So you just get out of the boxes initially.
Yep. You would use that until you needed to go attack or fall back or whatever. Then you would rely on your pouches.
Kind of like having the grenades set up. I mean, of course, grenades are a little bit shittier to carry, but like they would have them sitting on the parapet.
Yep, ready to go.
Just in
case
like,
you would need them.
Where guys could grab them and just use them. And the Americans had an actual grenade bag that they made that was heavy canvas on the bottom, and then it was just regular canvas on the top. And they would and the Germans towards the end, they had bags too. So yeah, this is a really cool thing because it's like, the Americans, by the time they got there, I mean, it was 1918 when they started actually fighting for the most part. There were some skirmishes in 1917. I get that and everything, but like 1918 was when they came in, but like that had been, 3.5 years of hell.
Yep.
For all these guys. And they had already been like, okay, the French, we use our bread bags to hold grenades, and we send our grenadiers out, and then they'll just lob as many grenades into the position as possible while the riflemen are coming up behind them. And then, the light machine gun teams will set up towards the middle, and then bam. Yep. And then we do another rifleman wave. But like the grenadiers were very important, but they were like, well, we can only carry so many grenades. And then they came out with these bags. And the Germans did the same thing. Like they use them in World War II as well. Of like, the bags are under your arms where you're running, you can run.
Yep, and they have the little like loops to put the grenades in. Yeah.
Yep. Well, no, they didn't even have loops. It was just literally a bag.
Yeah.
That they would have, and they would just pull grenades out, toss them, keep going, and But that's really cool. Like, it's.
But the most heavily fortified lines of all of World War I. A lot of people picture the Western Front for everything, and people don't realize like all the other fronts. But the most heavily fortified front was the Austro-Hungarian front in the Alps, to the point where like the Austrians, you got to remember, they had 5 years and 12 battles fought over the exact same patch of ground.
Yeah, and it was.
The entirety of the war. in one single patch of ground.
Well, they also fought the Russians on the Eastern Front as well.
Well, that wasn't as static. The defenses weren't.
That was the Russian front was so open. Obviously, it's a huge, vast area. They fought there, and then, but yeah, like the Italian front in World War I was nuts,
heinous. But like, there's pictures of the Austro-Hungarian trenches that they're reinforced with like slate from the mountains. You know, like their trenches are like stone lined.
Yep.
Not just like wicker, not like plywood.
It's slippery too. It's slippery.
Yeah. They're literally lined with fucking stone and concrete. And
but here's the thing: is if a bullet hits slate just right, you got more fragments in the bullet.
True.
You know, it's like that's like in Italy in 1943 on the Winter Line, the Bernhard Line specifically, the Germans used limestone.
Yeah.
To fortify their machine gun positions. If limestone gets hit, you've got not only the bullet that's fragmenting, but you've got all this limestone that just.
True.
This, you know, it's like, yeah, you're going to try to use that, but yeah, it's insane.
Cool thing about it, a lot of people don't think, well, yes, if it gets shot directly, but if you're lining the inside of your trenches, unless an artillery shell's landing in your trench, you don't have to worry about it. You know, but if an artillery shell's landing in your trench, the fact that it's slate is the least of your concern.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Slate is very smooth and very wet, and it just rain.
Fair. The cool thing about lining all their trenches with stone, though, is it drained really well. Because the water could flow under the rocks, and if they position the rocks to be flat, like with slate, you know, it could flow over the slate and then underneath it away, like a drainage system in the trench.
Yeah, but yet you doesn't have a secondary drainage system though, because like that would funnel the water down, but like so they must have engineered their trenches a little bit different than on the Western Front.
They did, and they had 5 years to do so. A lot of their trenches had power. Poured concrete where rock wasn't accessible, you know, reinforced concrete where they could, swiveling artillery concrete casemates with guns for ships because the Austro-Hungarian Navy was useless against the British Navy in the Mediterranean. So they would take ship guns and put them in the mountains in parapets to shoot at the Italians. So you have these like 15 fucking centimeter naval guns put into casemates on top of mountains to shell the Italians.
Yeah.
And like they did
and here's the thing, like
it's absurd.
It says something a lot about the Italians too, like they actually withstood these things and they actually won a lot of advances.
True. The
Italians like they
battles, there was like 4 that were stalemates, 4 that were Austrian victories, and 4 that were Italian victories. So
yeah, so it's pretty like when you've got a military, and of course the Austrians lost economically. That's where they were like, we're done. But for the Italians to put up that much of a fight with very little equipment compared to the Austro-Hungarians,
true,
it's impressive, like how they just withstood, and they won 4 battles, they lost 4 battles. Like the Isonzo campaign, oh my god, what a fucking bloodbath that was!
Biggest blood battle in World War I. People don't know that because you have the same 20 square mile patch of land that has been fought over for 5 years, and like Marco said there. They would wait till winter and shell the mountains around each other to cause avalanches to bury people.
Which is why we're still finding positions that were buried for a century, you know?
For sure. The Italians literally had to make a police force, like make a task force to go guard these positions that are appearing because of all these, all the receding of the glaciers to keep people from stealing shit so they could study them. It's like, it's that bad. There's so many fucking little nuances that you don't see in any other front. And I mean, you see guys carrying artillery guns piece by piece up mountains.
Oh yeah. Yep.
You know? And because it like some of those fighting like in the Dolomites against the Romanians and against the Italians, you can't even bring pack animals in there. Like guys are carrying like I saw something the other day where there's a mountain trooper and he's just smiling because he has a Schwarzlose on his back. Yep. And he has a sword on his hip and his like gun. It's like an officer, and he's like, "I'm just gonna go climb this mountain with this 50-pound machine gun."
Yeah, that's always fun.
And he's just like, "Let's do it." So
yeah, it's absolutely that campaign, just like in World War II, Italy is always just written off as whatever because the only thing that matters in World War II is Normandy. The only thing that matters in the First World War is the Western Front. It's like, no, what would you even call that? The Southern Front?
Well, a lot of it was either called the Italian Front or you hear it called the Balkan Front, even though it wasn't technically like in the Balkans.
Right, it was close, but it wasn't. So the Italian Front, like you never hear about that from the First World War because it's like, oh, we don't give a shit because America wasn't involved, and that's kind of thing that pisses me off is like, and then you had the Ottoman Front, with Gallipoli and all that stuff, which is often overlooked. The Eastern Front too, like that never happened apparently.
Yeah, nobody cares about the Eastern Front, and everyone's always like so big on World War II when it comes to Rommel, and Rommel got famous on the Italian Front in World War I for killing Italians.
Yeah, and he how he's alive or how he was alive after that is beyond me.
Yeah, he did some real spooky shit in World War I. He used to like just crawl out by himself up to the Italian lines and like mark stuff. Yeah. God.
And then it was like he also learned a lot about infantry tactics because of that. And he's like, well, here's what works and here's what doesn't. And then you kind of evolve that and translate that to panzer or tank tactics. Well, it's the same thing, just bigger scale, right?
And he based the Atlantic Wall off the Austro-Hungarian lines in World War I. A lot of people don't know that.
Right. The Atlantic Wall was fucked up.
Yeah.
People are like, we
with like the interlocking
we punched through the
fire.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. And he's like, or everybody goes, oh, we pierced that like it was fucking nothing. And I'm like, well, no, we didn't. That's. We paid dearly for getting through that. And that was the least fortified area of the Atlantic Wall. So consider that. Like,
yeah.
That was the least
I remember
fortified.
Something really cool about Rommel where, so like when he was, this was in like his journal, where he was down in, obviously like in Libya, with the Italians during World War II, and an Italian officer where he got asked where he got his blue max, and he said he got it for killing Italians in World War I. So, and the guy was like, "Oh shit!" so
now we're working together, and then we're not going to be okay the next couple decades, wherever.
For sure,
but
a lot
of
people don't know that. So like, Rommel wrote about that in his journal too during World War I. That I think like his son has now too, of his like dad's journals, because his son is like, I guess like in the government in Germany.
Maybe.
Or maybe he just retired. I know his son's getting kind of old.
Old. Yep. But I don't know.
Rommel said during World War I, he said he's never seen anything that looked as horrifying as the Austro-Hungarian lines on the Italian front. He's like, this is literally an impregnable fortress of natural fortifications combined with the best humanity has to offer for killing people. So,
and it's insane that the Italians actually held out and didn't just say fuck it, because I mean, the Australian the amount of artillery they had, not like small arms like machine guns and shit. Like when the Italians do an assault, it's like every square inch of that fucking land has got some artillery piece bearing down on it. Like it's just, it's not a question of if, it's just, it is.
There's a tiny little path you have to take because it's the mountains. Every attack wave has to go through like 5 access ways.
Right. Yeah. It's like, it's almost impossible. And I know a lot of Italians died assaulting the lines, and that's why everybody's the Italians do shit, the Austro-Hungarians. It's like, well, if you knew what they were up against, it's literally like we're going to assault Mordor is what we're going to do. We're going to assault Mordor from the front, and we're going to get through that gate.
Yep.
No, it's not going to happen.
No, and like if you had put those defenses on the Western Front, Germany would have won.
Yeah, but like it was a different because they didn't have the mountains, they didn't have the natural terrain.
Was 5 years of buildup too. That's the thing. The Austrians had 5 years of buildup in the same exact position.
Right, and it's like Switzerland on steroids.
Exactly. So like Switzerland, they did the same thing in World War II. There's no way Switzerland was going to win, but they're just like, you're going to lose an unspeakable amount of people doing this.
Right. Yeah. You will pay dearly.
Yeah. So we're not going to win, but it's how much do you want to lose?
Right. And that's also a really good deterrent. And that was what the Austro-Hungarians did. And the Italians were like, well, we're going to try.
We don't really have any other option. We were promised this many square miles of land by the French. So, I mean, it makes it work out. So,
yeah.
That's about what they got out of it. And there's a region in Italy that's called Southern Tyrol, which is from Austria. That was what they got out of Austria.
Yep. So. And, it's just insane how, it
is the single best fortified area other than the Maginot Line in the world.
Right, and Maginot, if they would have had the mountains and the terrain, that would have been a non-issue for the French.
Well, if the French also would have put it along the border with Belgium.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, on you, on me.
Fair.
You know?
But like if they would have just done it along their whole border, the French would have it would have been a repeat of World War I.
Well, the problem with the Maginot Line is like they did leave a few. All you need for that style of warfare that the Germans had adopted, all you need is a couple miles
to get through. Yep,
that are just weak. Mm-hmm. And once they punch through, all your guns are facing east.
Yep.
We're to come at you from the west, and that's what happened. And then the signaling. Oh my God, the amount of shit that the French government and higher
and they get so much shit for it too. Oh, it's never been fired, only dropped once. I'm like, they did so fucking good for how hamstrung they were. That's like fighting with
that's the thing is
so
well, and so I'll just say this. When they invaded Poland in 1939, the Germans took about 20,000 casualties total, dead and wounded, all that shit. Although that was a sucker punch, and that was like, they had Russia helping them in the east and whatnot. So I understand all that, and the French were prepared, but like the Germans took 140,000 casualties when they hit France.
Fair.
In May of 1940.
7 times the casualties.
Right. And it's like, the French, the soldier himself was like really good at
really proficient, fighting. Really well equipped, ready to go. But
it's just, I mean, again, their leadership failed them.
Fair.
As usual. And that's why it's interesting that like France has really never won anything by themselves.
Fair.
Besides like ancient times.
True, but I like how the French army, like if the government listens to the army and gives the French army what they want, they're like one of the scariest fighting forces on the planet.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. But like it's you know what I mean? Like it's the government always fails the military, and government military leadership is always involved with the government. Sounds familiar, right?
Yeah.
But it's like the government will always fail the French military.
Yep.
Because they're so fucking stupid.
Well, I mean,
arrogant.
They did pretty good in Korea.
I don't know about that much.
Oh, the French were like, they put up probably like per number of troops they sent, like the highest casualty rate in Korea.
That's fun.
They fucked North Koreans. Like they were like, well, we lost World War One, like we lost World War Two. Sorry, we got all this like anger to let out, and they just went to Korea and were like, pretty like borderline war crimes. Good at killing people.
So, I do know that the French Foreign Legion specifically, because it was accounts by the U.S. guys. They were on one hill, and the U.S. God, I forgot what unit it was. It's been a while. I'll have to go research this. But so this is also not a fact. This is just from what I remember. Is the French Foreign Legion, when they would get hit at night, they would decimate the North Korean and Chinese forces. And then they would cut off heads and put them on stakes around their base, or their
so
you know, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And the next day, yeah, it's like, okay, all the heads are up there. Uh-oh. They're still there. And it's weird because like they would rarely get hit after that.
Yeah. Well, they were really fucking scary. When like the French army gets to just do what they want, they get a lot done. And like that's how it's been for forever in like Africa too. They do all the counterterrorism in Africa, whereas like the US does it in the Middle East. And that's overshadowed a lot because the Middle East is a lot worse. But like there's a lot of those fucking rebellion and terrorist groups in Africa, and the French all handle that. Yep. They do all of that in Africa. And you never hear about all these problem terrorist groups from Africa.
No, well, that's also because it's not our thing.
Yeah, exactly. True. I suppose it's not in our media. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like in Mali and where are they at too? They're in well, they were in Sierra Leone.
Yep.
And Ivory Coast.
Yep.
And
Djibouti.
Well, Djibouti, that's a multinational thing
during the Civil War. So.
Yeah, well, Djibouti's that's a multinational thing because we're there. Yeah. And yeah, the French are in what the hell?
Morocco,
Ghana.
And,
yep.
What's that other one along the river? That's like Gambia.
Yeah, the former French colonies and all that shit. But like,
yeah, they do a lot for those countries. So
yeah,
and they're really good. Apparently, people are really afraid of them. So.
Yeah, the French soldiers does not fuck around. Like it's like
no, they don't.
You're done.
And people give them shit. I'm tired of people giving France shit for fighting. They do so much.
Their government and their upper military leadership, you can criticize. That's fine.
Well, you can do that with everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but it's so interesting how like every time, but it also like is interesting that like in the big world wars and like the big conflicts.
Yeah.
France can't do it without the support of other countries.
No, they get overwhelmed.
They get defeated. Yep. And so but here's the thing is there's something to be said about that. Like the diplomacy is so effective that they can convince people that have no real actual interest or gain out of what the French are doing to support them. You know what I mean? Like it's insane. But it's because
the deterrent, they have one of the largest standing armies in Europe. So,
right.
I think the only people that beat them in Europe is Russia. They have the largest standing army in Europe, except Russia.
Yeah, and Russia's army is like, you see about their crack troops and like their specialized troops and everything, but it's like the average Russian soldier
is a conscript. They can't, they have basic training. That's about it.
Right, and it's like that's fun. But yeah, it's insane, and that's all I have to say about that.
That's right. Good on the French. Good on the French. But
yeah, I mean, I wish people would just stop
waging up all the time about all the lines nobody cares about because that's just my thing.
I just wish people would stop waging wars in general.
Yeah, for sure. We need to definitely have more people in the anti-war group. This can all be talked about.
Well, it doesn't affect as many people nowadays, and that's why it's not as big of a thing. It's like, well, let's go over and kill those fuckers. Oh, how long have you been there? Are you going to be the tip of the spear?
Fair, but like you look at Afghanistan, which is now being ruled the worst military disaster of the century. So,
and here's the thing: is people are acting all surprised. Guys like you and I knew this.
oh, the
Almost
second
20
like in
years
the
ago.
early 20 teens when like France and Germany and everybody was pulling out, I was like, well, it's over. It's a matter of time now. Now the Americans are sitting here losing people and spending money just to save face.
Right, and it's like cool. Like, let me take a piss and whatever, and then we'll talk about Ask Kazakhstan because I'm sick of it. I'm sick of people like now just suddenly becoming experts on it.
Suddenly experts on it. We'll talk about it, get it out of the way, and consider it done deal.
Yeah, exactly. Because
it pisses me off too. I've been thinking a lot about it.
A very similar situation happened in this weird country called Iraq in 2011, 2012.
Yep.
Nobody seemed to give a fuck about it then. Just throwing that out there.
Obviously, Chris Jones gets it. He's here. He knows all about it.
Oh, dude, Chris, it's what? Can you come on, Chris?
Yeah, I wonder if Chris is as mad as me about this whole ordeal. I shouldn't
well,
say
I'm not as mad as you guys because I wasn't there.
Upset about it.
Yeah, here, let me. Okay, Jesus Christ. All right, I'm gonna go pee, and then I just texted Chris to see if he wants to come on.
Perfect. All right, for all of those of you asking, because I know some of you asked, the camouflage I am wearing, Chris Jones probably remembers this. So this is a M65 field jacket I acquired, hanging in a gym. That happens to, I don't know what I did with all the other patches on it, but it had the name tapes and the rank and stuff on it at one point. But this is the Afghan National Army's camouflage made by Hyper Stealth Industries in their woodland pattern, and it has the Special Forces Commando patch on it. So, and it had a bunch of other stuff. I don't know what I did with all the other patches. They're around here somewhere. But it was for a colonel, and it was just hanging in the gym for like a week. So I acquired it, and it's been mine ever since. And then this is a hat that I bought. It's made out of caracal sheepskin, and I had to pay $2 greasy American dollars for it. Which for those of you who have never been deployed, finding actual cash is really hard to do. So I had to do a lot of like favors to get $2 greasy American dollars to be able to buy this hat. But it is silk lined, actual silk line, not satin. And it's made out of caracal sheepskin. It's actually a really comfortable hat, and it's called a pakol, Pakol, and it's a traditional headgear of Afghanistan. It's actually a really, really fucking nice hat. And traditionally, they're made out of wool, and they're rolled up. So this is like a rolled part, and they're really fucking comfortable. They're super nice hats, actually, because they're like a natural sweatband, and they actually breathe quite well. And they keep you relatively dry in a lot of different kinds of weather. And they're warm, so surprisingly warm, and they're worn by both males and females over there. So it's a cool thing. Pakol is how you spell it. And if you can get one, I highly recommend you get one. They're really cool. So they're really, really cool, and it's something that I bought for $2 greasy American dollars. So yep, you got it, Golden. They're really cool hats, and this is like a really nice one. This is like something that'd be worn by like a higher society man, because the caracal sheepskin, which is this really, really nice, it's almost like merino wool. It's a very tightly curled kind of lamb skin, and it doesn't itch. It's not like regular sheep. There's not a lot of lanolin, which is the chemical that actually makes wool itchy. Not a lot of lanolin in these fibers, and it's a very silky, kind of nice, tightly curled wool, and it's super comfortable, actually. So I think you could buy them on eBay if you really want one. So they're around. They're not hard to find. You could buy them. So, but it's called a pakol, and it's the traditional headgear of Afghanistan and that kind of region. I was talking about my hat. People wanted to know where to get one of my hats. The good old
Afghanistan.
Pakol. Yep, pakol. Well, it's also not just Afghanistan. It's like Iran and Pakistan and stuff like that too. So And I was talking about my camouflage because nobody knows where this camouflage is used.
Hyperstealth, it's from Canada.
It is a Canadian company, but this is the A&A camouflage, yeah.
Yeah. You got a bunch of that material. You'll be made in the uniforms soon.
And it actually works surprisingly fucking good a lot of places.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, Afghanistan's got so many different terrains and, all that stuff. It's like,
because you probably remember, like, when I remember how they got so much shit for adopting this camouflage, kind of like when the U.S. did for adopting UCP. But it actually turns out that because the A&A operated now mostly at night, and Afghanistan is actually like 75% wooded.
Right.
But like the two regions, which is like a Kandahar and like in the south where it's more arid, are where all of the a lot of the like US media pictures come from. But there's more to Afghanistan than just that. There's a lot of Afghanistan that looks just like Colorado, actually.
Right.
There's really good camouflage for when they operate in most regions in Afghanistan. So
all right, I'm gonna try to get Chris B is a fucking caveman. But he's on his phone. I'm gonna try to get him
in here to help talk about, because he
doesn't have to help talk about it, but he was actually there. I wasn't there. You were there. I wasn't. And so, and he was there earlier than you were. He was there when I was
there a lot earlier than I was. Yeah.
So 2009.
He was there at like the height.
Yeah, because like I had friends there at the same time I was from basic training that a couple of them got hit and one of them died, and I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, Afghanistan was definitely it's definitely living up to its name, the graveyard of empires.
For sure.
Yep, the surge. Yep. 2006 to 2008.
Yep. Yeah, I saw. Yeah, I was part of the surge too, and so was Chris, and it's like, whew.
Yeah, it was fucking rough times, man. And even when I was there, and it was mostly kind of died down, it was still pretty fucking bad. So. Yeah,
well, I mean, it's not good to be in any war. Like.
That's armed conflict. It's not a war.
It's a fucking war. Like I know they say that.
Yeah. I get it is definitely still a war, regardless of what the governments call it, but
yeah, it'll
be remembered as an armed conflict.
Yeah, police action.
Police action, exactly, yeah. So
yeah, it's just so fucking irritating.
No, I am not drinking a Chiva. I'm drinking pear brandy and cognac from France.
Cognac is... You can have that.
It's just brandy. Cognac is just brandy from a specific place.
No, cognac is...
It's literally brandy made...
There's a difference. I researched this before because cognac is like aged in a certain way.
Yeah, but it's essentially brandy from a certain...
Yeah, it's just I don't like cognac. It's
just like champagne is sparkling wine from Champagne, France. That's
certain kind of grapes and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just from a specific place. It's just origin protected.
No, I understand that, but
yeah.
I never liked cognac, just the way it was aged and everything.
I like it. I do. I like cognac a lot.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
It's expensive. It's really expensive.
Yep.
But this is like my special occasion, like when we lose a war liquor.
You should try Christian Brothers brandy. That's
Christian Brothers brandy is pretty damn good. I actually like brandy.
It's not that expensive either.
No, I mean, I'm surprised at because people will spend like a shit ton of money on like whiskey, and I'm like, have you ever bought like a nice brandy? A nice brandy is like $40, and it's just as good as like a $200 bottle of whiskey. So
right, yeah, I sent Chris the link on his phone.
See if he wants to show up.
Well, no, let's see if he can. That's the problem.
Yeah, I suppose with his internet, much like you, yeah.
He's like a fucking deep, or not a deep south, but he's a southern redneck recluse.
He's way up in the hills, isn't he? Up in the
yeah,
south
and he's. I mean, he says he's. What does he say? He says he's a caveman. Yeah, well, they don't have caves. Well, actually, they do.
They have a lot of caves in the Appalachians, yeah.
Yeah, so he's a self-admitted caveman, he's that's why he did really well in Afghanistan.
That's
He's
fair.
a caveman.
That's fair.
And he's probably got, or he probably doesn't have this up right now, so he can't hear me talking shit. But that's fine. I mean, he can go like look at this afterwards and comment with whatever. But he's probably sitting there figuring out, shit. How do I?
Like the old man where he's got his phone up and he's punching the.
How do I make a screen name? I mean, he'll be in here like we're gonna be like wrapping up, and he'll be like, he'll just pop in and be like, "Is this working?"
Yeah, it'll just be like like when a toddler uses their phone, it's just like an upshot.
Oh yeah, it's not good. Yeah. It's not good. Yeah, it's oh Jesus. Yeah, he's apparently on his way. Maybe if you can get it figured out. So he texts me. He's like, "I'm a caveman," but he has an iPhone because like I have one that you can see like who has what kind of phone based on
phone based on whether it's blue or green. Yeah,
exactly. And so he has an iPhone. I'm like, "Yeah, you're a caveman with an iPhone," and I'm like, "Do you want to just try it? Like, I'll send you the link." And so this will be very interesting to see if this fucking redneck cave dwelling prick from Eastern Tennessee can figure this shit out.
Yeah, I'd like to know how he feels about this whole situation. I don't know if he's stirred up about it as much as
he probably won't give a fuck because or else he will. Like,
I mean, part of me really doesn't because I saw it all coming, but like part of me is also like really fucking upset that we wasted that much time and money and lives.
Yeah, it's and that's the thing is like, and the problem that I had was like when we left Iraq and it turned into oh my god. He figured it out.
Welcome.
Hello.
We were hello.
Hello.
Yeah. No, I was just like ragging on you. You said you're a caveman, and I'm like, there aren't any caves in Eastern Tennessee. Oh wait, there are. And then I was like, well, that's why he did so well in Afghanistan. He's a fucking caveman.
That's what I always said. I was like, man.
Yeah, that's what I was in. Yeah.
I was like, I'm just used to this shit, guys.
Jesus, that's not good.
No, I guess not.
God. So
I was pretty good at spotting them out. They're pretty quick.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's we were just talking about like
everywhere. So.
Yeah, we were just talking about that like when we left Iraq in 2011 or 12 or whenever the hell that was exactly, I had to come to the realization that I'm like, wow, so that was literally a year of my life wasted for nothing, and nobody gave a fuck about it then, but now everybody's an expert on Afghanistan. Like,
yep, now everyone's an expert on it. But
everybody's an expert.
I also love how like somebody told me like this is one of the first conflicts in U.S. history where there are people that died in this conflict that were not born when it started.
Right.
So it's just so I don't know how to feel about it. Part of me doesn't care. Part of me is kind of upset. Part of me is angry. But I did get a cool jacket and a hat out of it. So I mean, I mean, do you remember this, Chris? Was this around when you were there? Did they have this?
The ANA.
Yeah, I think so. Let me see here. Yeah, they did. I think they called it something poop. I can't remember. Something.
Yeah, I acquired this because it was hanging on a hook in the gym for like a week, and I'm like, I'm taking that.
Yeah, absolutely. Or he just left.
Yeah, and I was like asking some guy about it like after I got home, and I was like, when I had all the patches on it, he's like, "Oh, that's like a colonel in the special forces. He must have just left that there."
They like to leave a lot of things behind, right?
Pretty much. Well, apparently, like from what I saw, there was one guy that he was like he had his troops out one day, and like half of them didn't show up with like their weapons and like half their gear and stuff because they had went and sold it to the Taliban and then showed up, and he had to like give an address. He's like, "I'm so disgraced to be your commander, and you should do better." and you like should want your country to be free and have rights and stuff. And he was like, I'm so disappointed in all of you.
But why should they give a fuck about that? Like, let's be honest. Like, why should they give a fuck about that?
I mean, I know why they did it. They sold it because they got money out of it to support their family and shit. And they're,
sure.
to be fair, their families aren't probably going to be genocided here in the next couple of weeks because they did that. So, you know, but
Chris, your picture's actually very clear, and you look. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Can you hear me? Am I broken up? I'm in the
we're lagging. We're lagging. That's probably, we don't know whose internet's lagging though. That's the cool part. So yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Man, I didn't hear any of that. Watch this just fall apart.
Go ahead. And, you can speak.
Well, let me go outside. We'll see if that works.
Right. Yeah. How do you feel about the whole now that we finally lost thing?
Say that again.
How do you feel about the whole we finally lost?
God, you guys are just so laggy or broken up. I can't hear you.
Get outside. Listen to those cicadas and grasshoppers.
So, well, how do you feel about it?
Man, I got mixed feels about it. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, just let them kill each other. And then other times I'm like, man, it's just, those are bad people, man. They're going to do bad stuff. I mean, they've always done bad stuff.
Yeah.
My opinion of the Army, too, is those guys were fucking dumbasses. And they just never helped us. I mean, that day that big battle I was in.
Yeah.
On October 3rd, those guys just dropped their weapons and gave up.
Yeah, they run instantly the second something happens. Yeah.
We constantly had to tell them, like, man, you guys are going to have to fucking fight. I would make them guard. They could just be up there sitting. They'd be like, man, you need to stand up. It's not just going to be me guarding your fucking country. You're going to have to stand up, buddy. And sometimes we were getting altercations with them. They were just dumbasses, in my opinion.
Right. And so my point was, that I was saying earlier, is like, do you blame them? Like, what the fuck? Who are we to go in there and say this is how you're going to live? Like, we have our way of life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a few people that I knew that, like, to be fair, my base had all of the, like, commandos in it. And those people knew what they were doing, and they would fight, and they would, like, stand up and fight when other people are on the ground. They really gave a shit about protecting their country, but there wasn't many of them. So there was only like 300 of them. And I don't know how many of them are left, if any of them, probably, but they did their part to help their country, and they were probably the best the Afghan National Army had to offer, but it wasn't a lot.
Yeah, it's not great.
But
yeah, we had snipers, and they were kind of squared away. I guess they were like Afghan Special Forces or something, and they were pretty squared away. But like you said, it really wasn't that many of them.
No, there's like, so you get a handful of them compared to the vast majority of them. But yeah, the Special Forces guys, they were the last ones that died all defending Kabul that they talked about in the news story. There's about 300 of them that's like, fuck it, we lost, but we're going to kill as many as we can before they take Kabul. And they did. They fought to the last fucking man. So
I like their style.
Yeah. So I was like, well, that kind of sucks because a lot of them were really good guys, but they fucking went down with it. They're like, we know the ship's sinking, but like, we're going to die either way. Might as well. So,
well, that's the thing with Iraq too. Like when that whole thing went down like 10, 11 years ago, the difference between Iraq and Afghanistan, from we left, which we should never been there, in my opinion, but like, is a lot of the Iraqi army guys that we encountered and that we worked with and everything, and you can see they actually put up a fight. They put a line at Baghdad. They were like, nope, you're not coming here. We're actually going to fight. And they did, and they repelled the attacks mostly from that. And it was like, okay, that's not as bad. with the Afghan National Army, it was like everybody that I've ever talked to from that was in Afghanistan, like a U.S. soldier or a Marine or sailor or airman, every single one was like, yeah, the ANA, they're worthless. Like the fact that they exist is like fucking retarded. It's like why did they're not going to do anything, and like when we leave, they're just going to drop arms and sell all their shit to the Taliban and then go home and then get killed. Everybody that I was in Afghanistan, or I was not in Afghanistan, everybody I was in basic training with or served with that had been in Afghanistan said the same damn thing, and it was like, well, then let's just get out. And that was like 7-8 years ago. And so now everybody's acting all surprised, and now everybody went from being a medical professional and a virologist to now being a military strategist and a political analyst, and like, yeah, hey, wow, this is such a big deal. It's like you haven't given a fuck about it for the past 20 years. And now you're an expert. Now you're an expert. And like, I know people, and you know people, everybody knows people who have been there and said the same thing. And it's just like, Jesus, yeah, it's fucked up. But like, now everybody's concerned about it. Now everybody's concerned.
Yeah. The like 2,000 commandos in the whole country were the only ones that actually gave a shit. So.
Yeah, and that's not a lot of people. That's people think,
2,000 out of an army of 500,000 isn't.
It's 300,000. 300,000.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's it's still like that's nothing. And it's like, the thing, I guess the thing that's pissing me off the most from an outsider looking in is like how everybody's an expert all of a sudden. Chris, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's exactly it, because I worked with this kid, and he was in there talking about it like he was some type of professor. He's 20 years old. He's never served. He's there. He's talking. He's like, how about us losing and just getting our shit pushed in? I mean, that kind of pissed me off, because I was like, well, I didn't get my shit pushed in. I don't know who the fuck you're talking to.
Right.
But I understand what he's getting at, but I was just like, you don't have a fucking clue. And he's over there saying like, well, we just don't have the resource. It's just all this technical shit. And I was like, bro, I was over there. These people could give two fucks, literally.
Like, yeah, they just want to be left alone. I've said that for forever. I'm like, they literally just want to be left alone. They don't give a flying fuck about anything.
Let me tell you, if you live in a house and half of it's made of shit, you probably don't care. You know what I mean? Like, you're never going to leave. Change. That's my opinion. Now, I'll tell you this. I've been in places in Afghanistan. I've seen things other than October 3rd, and I'll never forget them. The Taliban. They're a disgusting. They're fucking disgusting. And I mean, but honestly, I was on guard one time, and there was two villages in between us, and they started shooting at each other, and so I called up, and later I find out it was like one leader at that village. They're both related. They're brothers, and it was something over like a fucking goat or something.
Yeah, livestock. They fight over livestock all the time. Yeah.
I was like, it's your bro, man. You can't be like, man, quit being a dick, or I'm gonna stop messing with you, bro. Like, but you want to shoot at him, and they're shooting into a village with women and children, Well,
they don't give a fuck about women or children. Like,
no.
Yeah, fuck them. I'd be on guard, and I'd see, you can't see their faces. They wear that shit. I don't know what you fucking call it. Remember
the burqa? Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd see their feet. I'd look at their feet, and I'd be like, "Damn, you got some hairy ass fucking feet." Tell them to take their fucking mask off, and they'd be like, "No, they can't do it." I was like, "Yeah, you're a fucking dude. That's what it is. You're a fucking dude."
Yeah, exactly. You ask them to do a simple task, and they're like, "You're definitely a fucking bushwhacker."
Yeah, exactly. You got hairy ass feet. I ain't never met one. Maybe a couple women. I don't know.
Yeah, it's so different, and like, why the hell? How in the hell? Okay, so say we went over there on like benevolent terms. We were actually like trying to do good. How do you expect an entire culture to change and conform to our culture? Like, I mean, How impossible is that?
I mean, that culture is older than most religions.
Right,
And they've
right.
adhered to these same rules for like 3,000 fucking years. Like, people don't know. They killed Alexander the Great.
Yeah.
They killed the Roman Empire. They killed the British Empire. They killed the Soviets. Now they've killed this entire coalition of people that were sent there. And they just want to be left alone. And like, there's horror stories. Like, I remember one guy whose fucking cow stepped on a Soviet fucking landmine. We didn't even put it there. Soviet fucking landmine. And he comes walking into our fob demanding payment because his fucking cow stepped on a 40-year-old Soviet landmine.
Oh, I got a package. I'll be back. Yeah.
You know, and the U.S. paid him. The U.S. government paid this man like $600 over a cow.
It's just like, you told them, sir. You told them that if they put goats in the firing range, that they'll lose the goats, and they still pay for them. I mean,
yeah, they purposely send them in there because they know the government will pay for it. Did you ever have that thing where like they would bring up like dead bodies that said they were killed in like a U.S. drone strike, and the U.S. government would just pay them?
Dude, yeah, they'd pay anybody almost for anything. It seemed like it.
Any excuse that was like half decent, they're like, "Here's your like $5,000."
I'll tell you, we fucking they gave them money to build a mosque in a village. Okay, they're like, we're gonna come out here. I think it was a couple.
One of those like hearts and minds bullshit things. Yeah,
like one of those hearts and minds, and I was already just like, they ain't building that shit.
They're like, how many AKs does that buy?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like they got that money and they instantly walked up that draw and crossed into Pakistan, and now that money's doing stuff.
Yep, they went into fucking, what's the name of that city just over the border in it?
I can't remember.
That has a huge arms market. I forget what it's called.
It's fucking huge, from what I hear.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I remember one time what we were just talking about. This kid just wanted some money. I think, that's the other thing too. You see kids and they're just fucking starving or whatever. And
so you give them like $1 or something. Yeah.
Like, they're like, God bless you. Just like, thank you. But we went on a mission, and we went through this village, and we come back. Well, I'll finish the mosque, and then after this, but we went through this village, and we came back, and usually you're not supposed to go the same way, but we went the same way back. So we got back in our vehicles, and we went back to the fob, and it was probably a couple hours later. This fucking kid dug up some like anti-tank mines that they laid literally right where we were fucking walking. I guess we just didn't have enough pressure to set them off or something.
Well, yeah, anti-tank mines take like 600 pounds to set off or something like that. Yeah.
Like they didn't. I guess they just didn't understand. Like, but man, you talk about it. I was like, damn. That'd have killed all of us if that was.
Yeah.
But also, when we gave them the money for the mosque, we went out there next couple of days later, no one showed up. Nothing ever happened, and no one ever built that mosque. So you tell me where that money went, right?
They would all went to AKs and fucking Soviet spam cans.
Right. Yeah.
But like, and I remember like, so one of the like horror stories I remember getting told is like, I remember getting told about your firefight when I went there. And I remember getting told about Jamshid, the RPG god, and being told another story about how the Navy vaccinated like a whole village for polio. And the Taliban went in there the same night and cut all of the left arms off everybody that got vaccinated.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll see shit like that. Like I was
trying they thought that we were poisoning all of these kids and women and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'd see kids with their hands missing and their fingers cut off and, just shit like that. And it's just...
Well, they get that for stealing. Kids just trying to steal to eat. The Taliban would cut their fingers off for stealing, yeah.
They're just, man... I'll tell you this one story, but it's pretty graphic. I'm not going to tell it on here. But it's a doozy. I'll tell you some other time.
Did you ever have those stories about how, like, so you see all these guys like in their 50s and stuff like that were kids when the Soviets invaded?
Yeah.
And I remember our interpreter asking why two brothers were missing. They were missing their arms, both their arms. And he said, well, like when the Soviets were in here, when they started to lose, they just decided to put up as many casualties as possible. So they used to put like toys and like candy on booby traps. And like these little kids would run over and like pick up this piece of candy and like it would set off an explosive and like blow their arms off. Or like pick up this toy and it would like blow their arms off or their legs off or something.
Dang.
Yeah, and so like that's how the Soviets did it, and now the Soviets just mined the whole fucking country when they left, which is where they got all those goddamn anti-tank mines. By the way, the Soviets were just like, well, as we lose ground, we're just gonna mine the shit out of this whole country. It's a 1 billion-acre minefield, and that's how the Taliban got all those fucking mines. They went and dug them up.
Yep, they can be crafty bastards. I'll tell you that.
They definitely
you're talking, Devin. It takes 600 pounds to set up an anti-tank mine. I could have done. I could have done that.
Set them depending on what they are.
Yeah, I could have done that, like easily.
Yeah. It's
walking. So good thing you're not a fat ass, Chris.
If two of you, well, I mean, I'm thinking trying to, because I weighed myself one time and I weighed almost 400 pounds. With all
your shit and all the water and all the ammo and the vest. Yep. And yeah.
And because and there's bigger dudes than me, so I was only and I was thinking, I was like, man, what if I was standing next to my, like we weren't like our in our interval, man, and like we set that fucker off, man.
What if a guy comes over and is like, hey, Jones, what do you think about this? And then puts his foot on that thing and then bam.
Yeah.
Yep.
And an anti-tank mine goes off, there's going to be nothing left of you except for your fucking helmet. So
they'd be like, hey, Jones, I heard your mom's got great corn. Bam! Fucking.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, like, people don't realize, like, how much your gear fucking weighs. Like,
I tell people that all the time. Like, I have a couple different vests, obviously, and so do you, Mike. And I hand them to people, and they're like, holy shit. And I'm like, yeah, those don't even have the rifle plates in it.
Right. And it's like, when they do, it's like, then you got to put at least, the minimum is 210 rounds, so 7 mags.
Mm-hmm.
At least 210 rounds. At least a fucking 2 gallons of water, 16 more pounds. Your gear, like your IFAC, your fucking whatever, and it's like, you end up
all that shit. Yeah,
you end up weighing like twice as much as what you actually do, and that's on the IOTV. Chris, I could never get this. So on the IOTV, you remember on the IBA, like they've got that big fucking burly handle that's like, it's a huge handle and it's got like a lot of stitching in it. And on the the IOTV has got like this little fucking nylon strap, and it's like, you're supposed to drag my fat ass.
You're supposed to drag 400 pounds with that,
right? It's like, really? What the fuck? At least make me comfortable while I'm trying to drag some guy that's like bleeding out. Well, his legs are gone, so that's an extra 100 pounds off. Well, I mean, let's be real here,
Yeah.
That's another fucking funny thing is that when I talk to people and like what I do for work is like I talk to people that think they're like fucking John Rambo or
operator as fuck.
Yeah. Yep. Like y'all wouldn't be able to carry a dead body. I mean, like,
no.
I would love to just lay limp here and I'd pay y'all $20 to see how y'all get me in your truck.
I'd love to just see you guys walk 20 miles and not complain.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's the other thing too. Yeah, it's like, it's funny because like it's now I'm fat and everything, but it's like back in the day, hey, I was in pretty decent shape and everything. And it's like, all right, even at that point, dragging a body that's like dead weight is like, wow, that's taxing. That's not good.
And I tell people all the time, I'm like, oh, great, you can bench 400 pounds, but I'm like, people don't know how like condensed that weight is. Like 400 pounds in a body is this awkward, flexible, like hard to carry weight. It's not just like 400 pounds. You know what I mean?
Yep. And I was always the big guy that like firemen carried shit because I thought it was easier. Well, yeah, you get somebody with a full combat load. Yeah, your legs don't move as fast as you want them to, and it's like, oh well, I guess I bit off more than I could chew here, so I just dragged this guy. Okay, fine.
Yep.
And
are you guys like me? Do you guys laugh when you hear people like bitch about how I'm like, oh, it's only half a mile, I'll just walk, and people are like, half a mile?
Well, it's nothing.
It's like, what are you talking about? Half a mile's like, I'm not even gonna break a sweat. It's 90 degrees out. So
I worked with this guy, and I was nice to him. I thought he was a good guy. Everybody called him, something. But anyways, he came up to me one day, and he was like, he's like, "Hey Jones, man, you were in the service. What kind of sling did you use?" I was like, "Oh man, I used a single." I said, "Well, I just tied 550 cord, and I had a carabiner on my plate carrier." I said, "So it's kind of like and I said I had a single point sling." I said, "I like that." He said, "Well, explain it to me." I said, "Well, I found out that when I'm engaging the enemy and I have to do other shit, I can just drop my fucking gun and it's right there in front of me and it's dragging. I can do something and then it's right there and I can grab it back up. It just works for me. I don't have to fucking pull it around or do none of that bullshit." Yep. And he's like, "Oh man, okay, I'm gonna get one of those." So he got one. And the next day I seen him, he was fucking returning it. And I was like, "What was going on?" I said, "What was going on, man? Not work out for you?" And he was like, he's like, "No, man, it just pulled on my shoulders too much."
Yep.
It's gonna pull on your shoulders. Well,
like, duh, a rifle weighs like what, 8 fucking pounds with all the shit on it, I mean
12, but like, yeah.
It's just like, I'd love to see you get whatever strap you feel most comfortable in and walk a half a mile.
Yep.
Right. See, I in Iraq, I had one of the new, at that point, the new 3-point slings, right, that they issued us, and I converted it into a 1-point, and I would wear my rifle, because I'm right-handed, so I'd wear it over here, and I'd have it down here at all times, and I'd have a hand on it, and it's like, yeah, exactly what you said. You don't have to fucking fight to get this thing off your back if you sling it. It's like, it's there, it's right there, but it's also easy and it doesn't get in the way of your gear when you're pulling it up and all that stuff. And but yeah, it's not comfortable. It's not super comfortable, but your shit pulls down on your body so much more that you don't notice that. It's like, you don't notice that. It's like, okay, well, a couple extra pounds, fuck it, and
and now we're all shorter than when we enlisted because of that. So I mean,
yeah, Chris, did you lose any inches on your height when you were there?
I don't know, man. Honestly, I don't think so. I don't think so. But damn,
I kind of broke even. But like when I got done, I was an inch shorter than when I enlisted. So
damn,
my spine had compressed that much.
Yep.
From all the
No,
shit,
and I had. How tall are you, Chris?
I'm 6'3".
Yeah, so am I. So I used to be 6'4", and then we went over there because I was sitting on concrete most of the time, and rocks and all that shit. I was 6'4". When I came back, I was 6'2".
Damn.
And then now I'm 6'3" again. So like, yeah, it's back to kind of normal. But like, I never gained back that inch that I had, beforehand, because the spine compressed and everything. And it's just like, what the fuck? Because I was standing
what happens all the gear you wear. It's like,
I was standing most of the time in Iraq. I was standing.
Yep.
And it was like, Jesus. And then running with all that shit on. It's like, oh, fucking whatever. And yeah, Jesus. So yeah, it's fucking insane. But like, yeah, I mean, I'm fine with 6'3". Like, that's a good height to be, I guess.
Well, you're both a lot taller than I am. So I mean,
you're just a little guy.
I'm 5'10", so I'm average. Thank you. I'm not little.
Well, you get to fit, and I don't know. Being the big guy in the army kind of sucks ass sometimes because either you don't fucking fit. Everybody fucking sees your big ass first. you have to carry the big ass fucking gun.
240 Bravo. Woo!
Like, all right, I'll take it.
Well, yeah, I actually love that fucking thing. Like, as shitty as it is to carry dismounted, that thing was, dude, 240 Bravo. If I'm ever a millionaire, I'll grab one because it's like.
I'm surprised they didn't give you the 240 Lima, which is like the 240 Bravo that's like 3 pounds lighter.
No, this is old school, man. This is 240 Bravo.
To be fair, I was a lot later than you guys. So I mean,
yeah, but I mean, the 240 Bravo, like, so Chris, you like the 240?
Bro, I love the 240, and but I like the Mark 48. Like, me and that, if I could be buried with that gun, I mean, it saved my life. I couldn't tell you. Have you ever shot one of those?
Nope.
Man,
the Mark 48. I haven't shot one, but I've seen them.
Dude, I'm telling you right now.
What is the Mark 48?
It's like the best way, and this is just how I explain it. It's like a Saw and a 240 Bravo had a baby.
It is. It's kind of like, yeah.
Let me Google it really quick.
Was in 308. So.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, I could stand and shoot. I mean, a pretty decent burst and not really move off my target that much. I mean, highly impressed at I like I didn't have a barrel at a certain point and I couldn't change it, and it's either fucking die or keep shooting, you know. Yep. What I did, and I melted it. I guess I must have melted the barrel to the receiver because we just couldn't get it to fuck off, and they had to send it off, and it was just I mean, dude, that thing still fucking worked. I mean, it was fucking well,
did you guys have so before they had like the M2A1 where it has like the quick change barrel where you rotate it like 70 degrees and pull it off? Did you used to have the 50 cals where you have to like put on the big fucking gloves and like unscrew the barrel?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
dude,
I heard stories about that because like when I was there, they had pretty much replaced everything with the M2A1s where you just literally grab the fucking handle on it and you rotate it like 70 degrees and yank the barrel off. Well, it's like red hot. And you can just slide a new one in, you rotate it, and you're good to go. And it's all headspace and everything. But like, I heard all the older guys talking about it, like, yeah, to put on these fucking gloves and like unthread the barrel from the 50.
Oh yeah,
like,
and you don't want to touch the threads to the shroud because then you'll fuck them up, and then your barrel's flatlined. And yeah, no, it's everything. I don't know, Chris, but like everything we had was the old school rotated in. And then,
you got these big fucking asbestos like mittens on. And
exactly. And it's all the way in. Back it off 2 clicks. All right, go ahead, headspace that bitch. All right, let's do it. Yep. Yeah.
I had 2 of those fucking gauges, and I actually had a Browning 50 cal, and I love that motherfucker. And we got these Crow systems. I don't know if you know what those are. The camera remote operated weapon system or station or something. And I put that bastard in that thing, and it broke the fucking charging bracket off of it. Like the bracket that held it on there. I mean, it just fucking completely fell off. I was like ashamed of myself. I was like, damn, what did I do? How did I put this up? But
you're
I got
a caveman. Because you're a caveman. That's why I fucked up.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
For a second. That's usually my answer. If I can't rock, I don't know what to do, damn it. Oh man, I love that fucking gun, and it was
I was looking at the Mark 48, and it's like that is a fucking that would have been my dream to carry that thing. But, as a nasty girl light infantry unit, we didn't ever have those. We had the 240 Bravo, the 249s, the updated rails and everything. And which I don't know, there's probably a model number for that, but like, yeah.
Now, did you guys have M4s or did you have M16s?
Who?
Both of you.
I had M4s.
Yeah, I had an M4.
You guys are lucky.
Yeah, the C7A1 or the C7A2.
Yeah, with like it's 4 extra fucking inches of barrel, that fucker.
I barely used it. Honestly.
It's heavy. The C7 is so fucking heavy because the barrel is like the cold forged fucking like what is it? 18-inch
20,
barrel on the
20
thing?
inch,
60,
20 inch.
yeah, 20-inch barrel or something. It's like that rifle's like 7 pounds unloaded. God.
I don't think of what I had basic. I can't remember fucking.
It's so fucking long. You don't realize how fucking long it is till you hold an M4,
So
but they're so fucking long.
That's what she said, and then she died. But no, so Chris, so you were in basic at the same time I was, and we had brand new FN M4s.
Oh,
Like
really?
brand new. Like our platoon, or I'm sorry, our company got brand new FN M4s, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. So we were the first to zero them. There were a lot of guys when I was at Benning that were carrying around A4s, even infantry guys that were carrying around A4s. So, yeah, I remember that distinctly.
I think. I can't remember what I had. Damn it! It was like a flat top. We zeroed iron sights, but did you guys?
Yeah,
have
same.
six?
Yeah, I think we were talking about this. Like, yeah, we zeroed and qualified with the backup iron sights, and then we got 68s after that, and then we did the moving target range, which we were talking about, the fun range with the hills and everything, like to qualify on. And sorry, you were like didn't come through.
We didn't say anything.
Yeah, he
Badass
did.
range.
Yeah, that range, and so that was the one that I was telling you about. Like, we had just gotten the 68s at that point, and I could not hit shit with them. We zeroed them, but like I was just like, oh, this is weird. And so my drill sergeant, the senior drill sergeant, was standing next to me. He goes, "What the fuck is your problem? You shot expert. What the fuck is your problem?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I grew up on iron sights." He goes, "Then turn your fucking CCO off and then use the iron sights. Like whatever the fuck needs to happen, qualify it. Like do this." And so I turned it off and I just flipped up the iron sights and then bam, hit, bam, hit, bam, hit, bam, hit. And he was like, "God, you're fucked up. Like, how do you hit shit better with irons than you do with a fucking red dot, like a CCO? Like, how do you do that?" And I'm like, I grew up on these things. Like, it's just, I don't know. And he's like, "Well, whatever. Fucking A. You qualified. Goodbye."
Those 2 reference points, I agree. Having the 2 reference points is so much better. Yeah. But like I had to like over there, everyone had L-cans, and like didn't you have like the like weird L-can like gunnery sight on your 240?
Yeah, they were offered and issued, but I never used it. I used irons on the 240.
So we had a lot of stuff that was similar. We had like the Spectre scope, which is like it's like the Canadian ACOG. But rather than having that weird fucking like chevron sight, which is retarded, they have a regular crosshair, which is great.
Yeah.
And they work all right, but I never liked them as much as the iron sights either. But that's what we had to use. So
yeah, and like the L-can, like it can give you, especially in Afghanistan, from what I've been told by my buddies, like there's so much distance, like some
magnification helps.
Magnification is a good thing, but it's still like it's just, I don't know, the irons, like when they were like 800 yards, targets popping up. Flip the irons to 8, and then it's down.
There was so many times we didn't even have rear iron sights on our gun because the Spectre DR scope is so long that you can't have your iron sights on the rail while the scope is on there. So you have a front post, but you have no rear iron sight because you have this shitty scope on your gun.
Right. Yeah, and that's not good. Like I think every firearm, military wise, in any military that matters, should have iron sights
for sure,
readily available.
Yeah.
You're almost combat.
And Chris, did you grow up on iron sights, Chris?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the first thing. Ruger 1022, brother. Fucking
yep.
Iron sight. I'm like you guys. To this day, I prefer iron sights.
Mm-hmm.
I'll sell fucking scopes and red dots. I'm just like,
Yep.
no, this is the shit. And I'm just like, yeah, I guess, you know.
Yep. You do you. You
I
do
mean,
you.
it's been good for 500 years. It'll continue to be good. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing is, like, I think it's actually a skill that's going away because everybody's got optics now. And, like, optics are fine once you get used to them. Like, it's cool. Like, I can shoot with optics now, you know, that I've done it in the civilian world. But, like, iron sights are. Here's the thing: is they'll never fail you. There's no batteries. There's no lighting scenario where it's like, oh well, it's not perfect lighting. I don't have enough illumination. I don't know. Like, it's iron sights. You can line the rifle up and you're good. And maybe it's like super old school. Like maybe we're the last generation of people to grow up with iron sights. But like irons are just even with
it's
moving
so
targets,
natural and comfortable.
right? Even with moving targets, like you can hit iron. You can hit your target with iron sights better, if not, you know, at least as good as with an optic. Like it's, I don't know. It's, I guess.
I mean, I know people that can't hit something at 200 yards without a scope. So I mean,
well, right. We've met them.
yeah,
We've met them. And yeah, it's fun. But like, I mean, the other day, like, so Chris, a while back, or a couple months ago now. Jesus Christ, time is flying. So Devin and I went up to the range and we shot my Lebel 1886-93, right? And I was sitting there standing up. We were about 250 yards. Had a nice steel gong set up at 250 yards, and I was just standing up, like, bam, ping, and then I was like, yeah, hey, Devin, you never shot one of these before. The sights are very small. They're very low profile.
very
They're
fine,
very small.
very fine.
And I was like, so yeah, like I made a video and like we posted that on there. And so he's sitting down in a chair, comfortable, and he just goes, ping, 250
First
yards.
shot, yeah.
No problem. No problem. First shot he's ever shot out of that thing. And it's like, yeah, well, that's why I don't think you can compare with iron sights. And then with the A4 that I have, the A4 clone, you were using the ACOG.
I fucked up so much on that thing.
Yeah, but yeah, you had a problem with it because it was like same distance. And I said, here's how you use the sight. You know, it's very weird, but it still wasn't like the iron sights for the 1893 Lebel. You hit it on the first shot, like bam.
Yeah, they're like a razor blade. You line them up; they're so easy to do, you know. But
and on the ACOG, which is zeroed, and like you saw after you figured it out, it's zeroed.
Well, like it's that weird fucking like chevron,
Yep.
and you're like, oh, the bottom of the pinnacle of the chevron is like 200
Correct.
yards. I'm like, what kind of shit is this? What's going on here?
Right. it's like, well, yeah.
You know, the ACOG, I did get used to that thing. I got one in Afghanistan.
You did or didn't?
I did get used to it.
Yeah. Yep.
But like I was saying, iron sights. I would do the Mark 48 iron sights, and I got fucking eagle vision, son. I don't even need night vision, honestly. I could see better at night without it.
Without
that shit,
night vision, yeah.
It fucking fucked. I was like, man, I can't see shit. My depth perception's off. You know, like fucking.
Yo, yeah, exactly.
Were you like me? Where like when you use night vision for a little while, it makes your eyes hurt so fucking bad, and you have to like turn it off.
I think there's something wrong with my eye because of that. Because so many times on guard, I mean, like a fucking 6 or 8 hour guard shift or something, you're just like, man, I'm about roasted. My eyes fucking burn.
You start to get like a headache, and your eyes hurt so fucking bad just looking through this thing.
I'll take it off. My other one, I'm just like, man, that's crazy. You couldn't hear shit. Where I would guard is next to a river. I mean, you couldn't hear nothing. So I'm like constantly looking over, like below me, like you planting a bomb, motherfucker. Like they were fucking crazy. They do something.
Well, that's why you have your box of grenades. You could just throw a test grenade and be like, that'll get them.
Dude, I fucking hate grenades. I think I told you.
Yep. Yep, you told us that. Hey, brother, I'm on the same fucking page as you. Like, the farther away from grenades or any explosives I can get, the better.
The better.
It's not good.
Yeah, I always manage to have some or have to.
Yeah, you always manage to have this explosive compound that can make you disappear like a magic trick on you. Yeah.
Nothing existed. You know, they'd send mom can't even look at me. Fucking, just oh man. But I tell you, I've thrown so many fucking grenades, and then when they hit us hard on October 3rd, we had Claymore set up outside, and we always told the fucking commander, I'm not gonna say his name, but we always told him, "Hey, sir, like, why don't we replace those or put new ones out there or something?" He's like, nah, we ain't gonna waste our time. And then when that day happened, he went to click that bastard, none of them went off.
Well, because they probably cut all the fucking wires, didn't they?
They did. Wires. Sons of bitches. And
yeah, they're smarter than people give them credit for. They probably, like, the day you put them out, somebody was watching. They went in and fucking cut all the wires that night.
So Chris, funny question. Did you qualify expert on grenades at Benning?
Oh fuck no. I don't know.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, if I'm a broken record, when we got there, and you went to the same range. I think there's only one. And
there's only one grenade.
We got out there. Yeah, and they give you an instruction. You go over what you're gonna do throughout the day. They demonstrate.
Yep.
And then they're like, the guy doing the class told us. He said, "I know all of you have played fucking baseball. So this is what I need you to do. Just throw it however the fuck you want to get it over that fucking line." Because hang on a second, I got a car here. Oh shit, it's the wife. Oh man, I'm busted. But
yeah, it's good. We're gonna wrap up pretty soon anyway, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll tell you this story, and I'll probably bounce.
Yep.
But if you can hear me.
Yep.
You chop it out. Why don't you save the story for another stream?
Hang on a second. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes. Let's save the story for another stream. It's good, but you're cutting out.
Man, we need some. This is lagging. It's like I could barely hear him the whole time. It's like
same.
Ass.
That's why I said if you got it, Lima Charlie, you could tell the story on the next stream that we have you on. How about that?
All right,
about grenades. Yeah.
Y'all take care, brother. It's good talking.
Yeah, you too, man. Hey, later. Good chat with you. Yep, later.
Gosh, I like Chris. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's like the typical American dude. He's just
he's so like down to earth. Yeah.
Well, that's why it's funny because he used grenades a lot in Afghanistan. And, I was like, did you qualify expert at Benning? And he's like, oh God, no.
You don't have to. It's a fucking grenade.
Well, I qualified. I got expert. I wore that bar on my expert badge as a joke.
Grenade.
Or no, it's over here. Yeah, rifle and grenade. Well, and then I qualified expert on pistol.
You're one of the last guys that got bayonet training.
Yeah, well, I did. That was fun too. And
I remember you saying that. Like, you know how awesome it is to be able to shank a fucker on the end of your gun. So, to know what you're doing, anyways. So.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. Like Chris has pretty much the same mentality as most people that were there. Like, fuck them.
Yep. Like I said, that's about half of what I feel. It's like they didn't want us there in the first place. They didn't give a shit about anything.
Right.
But like a lot of me's still upset about how it's like 20 years of so much money and so much life. And it's like, I mean, I gave like a year and a half of my life to that bullshit.
That's what I thought. Like when Iraq fell, basically,
because it was my golden years I wasted, and what I thought was like for a great cause, and it turns out to be for nothing.
Just nothing, yeah. And it's like whatever. Now we know, and it's fun. But
Well, I guess. Well, here's to everybody that hung out. Did you get the cool letter? Like I got an email
About
from
the
the
particles
sergeant
and shit?
major of the army that was like apologizing and thanking everyone for their service. Somebody
No,
sent me that.
no, I wasn't there. I wasn't in Afghanistan, so no, I didn't.
Oh no! So like I didn't get sent this directly, but somebody's like, "Hey, I think you should see this," and I'm like, it put me at ease quite a lot today. Actually, they sent me this picture of the email that the sergeant major of the army sent everybody saying like, "Thank you all for your service, and I'm so sorry for all your fucking losses." And it's like it's actually really heartfelt, and it's like,
Yeah, well, I mean, he was probably there. I don't know who the current one is, but like,
so.
yeah, it's
Well, I mean, I
it's
have the
just it's not
picture.
good. It's like, yeah,
See
it
who it
is
is.
what it is.
James C. McCoville, General of the United States Army, from the Chief of Staff.
Yeah, I met
He's
the sergeant
Chief of
major of the.
Staff, I guess.
Yeah, I know. I met the sergeant major of the army when I was in Iraq, which is fun.
Yeah.
That was.
But he's like,
Who the
he
fuck
gave
was
us a heartfelt apology, and I'm like, it was kind of good reading that and everything. But I guess, like, well, here's to everybody that fucking lost their lives and everybody that's going to continue to lose their lives and that genocide that's going to follow. So, I mean, hooray. It's over at least, but.
Jesus Christ. So lame.
Yeah. But at least we can all move on with our fucking lives now.
Well, yeah, we can.
How long do you think before the U.S. involves in the next thing? 2 years?
I hope never.
Yeah, I think everyone's been hoping never for like 50 years, but.
All right, so. Jesus Christ. So. Oh yeah, Sergeant Major Preston. Yeah, that's the guy that I
That you got
shook his hand and I didn't even
that
know it
you
was
met?
him.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
were telling me that
He,
story about how you met him and you didn't know he was like the sergeant major of the army.
Yep. And so yeah, like I was like, because people were shaking my hand and it was like, okay, cool, Sergeant Major, cool, first sergeant, whatever. And then he shook my hand. I was like, yeah, good to meet you, Sergeant Major. And I looked down and I was like, that's a lot of black. And I looked up and I see the name
There's
Preston.
a lot of shit
I'm
on
like,
that emblem. Yeah.
right, because in basic training, like you have to know your chain of command, like the whole way through. And I was like, and he just looks at me, he goes, good to meet you, Private. And I'm like, all right, I guess I fucked that up. I was supposed to say Sergeant Major of the Army, but I just said Sergeant Major, but he didn't make a big deal
Well,
out
isn't
of it.
that how you're
And I
supposed
was
to
like,
address him? It's just sergeant major.
of the Army, no, because it's him.
You have to like.
There's one of him.
Yeah. Okay.
There's one of him. So like, you're supposed to say that, but I was just like, yeah, good to meet you too, Sergeant Major.
Well, I
And I
mean,
looked at his
isn't there
chest
just
and
like,
then looked at the
isn't
name.
it like the same emblem except for two little things or like one little marking or something?
Yeah, it's not, but like you recognize it, and then that's why I looked at the name, and I saw Preston, and I was like, oh Jesus, like I just fucked up, but like I didn't want to like go back and like make it seem even worse. And he just was
Yeah,
like,
but he's supposed to
we
be
made
like
eye
a pretty
contact.
cool guy, isn't he? Like he's supposed to be like
Right,
the
yep.
the voice of the enlisted people.
Right, and like so we made eye contact, and then I was like kind of scared, and he's like, "Hey, good to meet you, too, Private." He's like, "You're doing a good job," and I'm like, "Well, you don't know that." And in my head, I'm like, "You don't know that, but hey,
Great,
I
I've
guess
spent the last 6
whatever
months
floats your boat."
masturbating and being mad about being bored.
Right,
Because
right.
a lot of people don't know that's half of what being the military is: sheer boredom, masturbating, playing cards, and it's like 1% sheer terror.
Yeah, but it was pretty cool. Like get to meet Pentagon brass there, and it was like, oh, that's fun.
Yeah, that guy's a fucking big shot. I don't know how the U.S. does it, but like that guy's fucking big, isn't he?
Oh yeah, like it's, and it was just one of these things. Like I knew he was going in. I watched him go in, and then he was in there for a few hours, and then when he came out, there was like an entourage. But I'm so used to like these upper enlisted guys and officers. Like, hey, I met, dude, as a PFC, I shook so many generals.
Base,
Dude, yeah, I shook so many general and like all these people's hands, like 4, star generals, 3-star generals,
Yep, the
whatever. And I was
publicity
just like,
shit, people coming through just for a picture.
Yep, exactly. It was a routine, and that's why, like, because like I got like I told you, like there was a couple of people before him, and then all of a sudden I'm like, yep, good to meet you, Sergeant Major. And then I was like, oh Jesus, did I just fuck this up? But like nothing happened. It was fine. And moved on, and it was like, yeah, okay, cool, like whatever. And it's like a big deal. Like it doesn't fucking matter. It's just a dude wearing a uniform in the end. But like it was just at that point I was like, well, I'm a private, and like I'm shaking
I don't
the
want to
hand
be
of
here.
like,
I don't give a shit. Yeah.
right. And I'm shaking the hand of the most senior enlisted official in the United States Army. And I'm like, I just fucked that up. But I was like, you know what? At that point, I'm like, I don't care. Like, whatever. I said what I said.
Yeah.
I recognized the rank, and then I was like, well, yeah, there are 2 stars. Like it's Command Sergeant Major with the wreath and everything, and the 2 stars. And then I was just like, oop, okay. But then, yeah, no big deal.
Yep, it didn't ring a bell till it was too late, though.
No, I mean it was already over. Like I already said it. Doesn't matter. As I was shaking his hand, I said it, and it's like whatever. But and then but it like there was so much Pentagon brass where I was every fucking day that it was just
they
like
have to televise everything now,
right? And it was like old news, and it was like whatever. So anyway, I think there was a good stream. Hour and 45.
It was a very good stream. We talked about a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the World War I stuff is definitely eye opener. And then Chris, the fucking caveman.
Yeah, talking to Chris actually kind of puts me at ease a little bit more. I'm glad that I'm not the only one that feels the same fucking way about it. So
it's kind of like fuck it, like they get what they deserve.
Yeah, I'm flip flopping between not caring and like, well, that was a giant waste of time.
Giant waste of time, yeah. And I'm sure Chris, like he said, agrees. Like he goes, we didn't get our shit shoved in because like those guys did not get their shit shoved in. They fought and they did a great job. But it's like, why was he there in the first place? Why was I there in the first place? It's like, why were you there?
Because somebody paid me to go there.
Well, yeah, exactly. But no, but that's kind of the whole consensus. So yeah, that's good stuff that you're feeling a little bit better. But yeah. Anyway, I think it's a good stream.
Yeah, it was.
We'll call her a fucking night.
That's right. Plan for Friday.
Yeah, Friday we're gonna actually have the lead U.S. actor on this playing Audie Murphy.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, Jared. He's a really good guy. He's like very down to earth. He's from Illinois.
He found the time for that in his busy schedule.
Yeah, actually, like I just asked him, and he's like, "Yeah, we'll do it." So, yeah, that guy is so busy. Like it's insane.
For sure.
But I mean, he's
really
a good.
I could be there. I got some other shit going on Friday, but we'll see if it lines up or not. So.
Yeah, no. If you can. But like, yeah, he's a very, very talented dude, very motivated dude, very nice guy.
It'd be super cool to talk to him. I really want to be there, but
yeah, and like you can see the resemblance. It's insane. But like, yeah, well.
But yeah,
so on,
the ex-girlfriend gets from basic training, and gets back from all of her shit. And I gotta go give her keys at her shit on Friday. So.
Okay, yeah, I mean, you make it. If you don't, you don't. But like,
I might be a part of it, but I might have to drop out early depending on when her flight.
That's fine. That's fine. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for the super chats, Golden HQ.
That's right. Thanks, Golden. I appreciate you.
I kind of do.
I actually do.
Well, and am I ever going to get with my interpreter that I serve with? Probably. So that'll be a cool video thing.
That would be a very cool stream. I'd kind of like to talk to him too.
Yeah, he's in Texas right now, but he's safe as far as I know, and with his family, which is the biggest part. So, all right. Anyway, Devin K. You're not going to do the typical. You're the UK.
I'm the Commonwealth. Yeah.
That makes more sense. That actually makes more sense because when you do that,
makes so much more sense when they describe it. But yeah, no, we all do it like this. But like, the Brits are like,
yeah, but it makes more sense. But like, this is like, well, is he holding something with his thumb? Is he holding a fucking
Yeah,
those
does he
little
have
throwy
does he have a huge knife blade up his sleeve that we can't see?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, guys. Everybody take care, and we'll see you on Friday.